Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video on Misfortune, the 5 tips you need to know about her. My name is Lovetap. I do educational content. I do these tip videos. I do guide videos and stuff like that. I also stream every night at 6:30 PS2 if you want to check that out. And if you have any questions for me, that'd probably be the best place to contact me. I'm also going to put a Discord link down in the description below if you want to have a live chat with me as well. And let's just jump right into it. We got Misfortune today, and the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about on her is you can really go two different ways with Misfortune with keystones. There's a couple others, but they're not going to be as meta as these two. So if you want to do a really heavy scaling build, Dark Harvest can be really strong on Misfortune because it applies on her Q damage and it scales up during the game, and it also has an AD ratio, which is great because Misfortune builds a lot of AD. Second up, if you want to have a little bit of a stronger laning phase with a little bit more kill potential, you can go Comet, and it will provide a lot more poke, and it can be good against a lot of squishies. So make sure to kind of suss out what kind of what your elo is like. If you're seeing a lot of short games, it might not be the best to go Dark Harvest, but if you're seeing a lot of long games, Dark Harvest is going to be huge. In the low elos, usually people tend to struggle to close out games, so Dark Harvest might be a little bit better down in the lower elos, but just kind of keep track of, maybe just look at your match history to see, oh, that was a 30-minute game, Dark Harvest probably gonna be better. That was a 30-minute game, Dark Harvest gonna be better. Oh, that was just like a 22-minute game, Comet might have been better in that situation. So just keep that in mind when you're going and picking Misfortune. I think they're both really two viable picks. I personally enjoy the Dark Harvest build a little bit more because you just see these ginormous chunks getting taken out of people in the mid and late games, so keep that in mind. And that will wrap up number 1. Alright, and for tip number 2 with Misfortune, I want to talk about something that is pretty important for when you're trying to pick up Misfortune. She is very susceptible, particularly when she is ulting. She is standing still and just waiting to get pounced on by any kind of diver or assassin that is looking to kill you. She is really heavily enabled by two things. First up, by being behind terrain is really big because it will require them to use some sort of mobility spell to get to you, and sometimes you're pumping out so much damage that it's going to be really tough for them to even get to you to stop your ult. Second up, she is really enabled by choke points. Really look to take a lot of fights in the jungle because this is really where Misfortune thrives, as opposed to maybe something up in the lane where they can have a bunch of different places to dodge out of your ult, as opposed to just literally just being stuck in here with your ult, which is going to do a massive amount of damage. So try and take advantage of just getting those fights in the in really confined spaces. Alright, and let's just jump right into number 3 real quick. This is just going to be a really base tip that everyone absolutely needs to use no matter what. If you take one tip away from this, you need to use this with Misfortune, and it is her Lovetap and how it works. It gives you a great amount of burst on a target for when the first time you hit it. It also can get you really good at CSing because it's going to make your damage threshold even larger. So look to use a little bit of a burst. You want to take short burst trades with Misfortune in lane. So for example, let's just start off with no double tap. Okay, here we go. So you want to do an auto into the Q, into the W, speed up into the E, and then back off, because that's all of your burst. She has very low consistent damage. There are very few ADCs that do less than her consistently auto attacking without resets of the double tap. So you want to take those short trades and then just switch over to a minion, and then when your Q is back up, you can go in for another trade. So look to take advantage of Lovetap as much as possible. This is her weakness. This is her strength in lane. It just depends on how you use it. Look to take advantage of it just the most you can. Okay, that's gonna wrap up number 3. I know it's a quick one, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you guys are using the Lovetap resets on minions and team members, enemy team members in team fights. Alright, and for tip number 4, I want to talk about Misfortune just as an overall champion. Her only defensives are movement speed ups and decreases for the enemies. So one really big thing that I see a lot of mistakes being made as Misfortune is, say you're getting chased down by this target dummy right here. The quickest way to build the most amount of speed away from them is the E. And then if you don't have your W, up to W. But the one big part of your strut is it's canceled by damage. So what you want to do when you are taking trades, just make sure you are using your strut after they use their long distance ability to do damage to you, and then pressing your strut to get away, because this is really how Miss Fortune is her only defensive. So you have to get really good at spacing and auto attacking and knowing their cooldowns and when you can escape. W is always best pressed after you are taking an auto attack from the enemy, if you're just trying to run out of combat, because it will give you a little bit of time to build some space before their next auto attack comes through. This is even further enabled by things like Yomus, and Boots of Swiftness can really just make you deceptively hard to kill. Obviously assassins and bruisers with a lot of mobility can catch you, but look to outrun people as much as possible, and make sure you're using this when you're not taking a shitload of damage. Yeah, that's gonna wrap up number 4. Alright, and the final tip I'm going to get into on Miss Fortune is just her overall kit and her playstyle. Now, lethality is definitely, in my opinion, the best build. The crit nerfs kind of hit her pretty hard, and she doesn't scale as well with crit builds as other champions. So you want to look for as many team fights as you can in the early and the mid game. This is when Miss Fortune has so much power. And also, kind of along that same vein, you want to take Miss Fortune with the team comp that can properly peel for you and have a nice front line. She's very susceptible to divers, so it might not be the best choice if you have no peel out of your team and they have a lot of divers. Miss Fortune is going to struggle a little bit, but if you have 2 to 3 tanks and you have a enchanter support that can protect you quite well with peel, then Miss Fortune is a great pickup. Going back to her scaling in the late game, obviously her team fights are really strong still with her ult, but she isn't going to have the same consistent damage as a lot of other ADCs. So really look to get as much Dark Harvest procs you can to be strong in that late game, and really try and bandage the weakness that she can see in the late game. With the lethality builds, they obviously don't scale as well because people get armor every single level, and they're gonna be less effective the more and more you go on for your team. So try and get as far ahead as possible on Miss Fortune, and you will see success trying to end out those games in the early and mid game. And that's going to wrap up my video for the 5 tips for Miss Fortune. If you have any feedback or critique, please let me know in the comments. Or if you want to get a hold of me, you can check out the Discord or the streams that I'm running every night. And remember, if you guys like the content, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. And you guys take it easy.